And we're back with our part 2 of our Google Apps training. I said we were going to focus on forms, and you have all actually had experience with Google Forms because you filled out my questionnaire on when you were available to participate in a training, which obviously did not happen face-to-face, but we're here right now. So this is a form that I created myself that I sent over and shared with you, and I collected your responses, and I'm going to show you how you can make one and how it can be beneficial to you as a counselor or a social worker. So as I stated, to create any type of new document or form, you would click on the new button. For me, I have to select more, and I would go to my Google Forms, and it would create a untitled form, which I would change. Maybe I would say all about me. And very quickly, just looking at some of the tabs and the icons available, I can edit each question. I can change the theme being what the individual sees when filling out the form. So I'm just going to leave that there. View responses. What's great about forms is that it collects all of the responses from the individuals who sent out the form to, all on one spreadsheet or a sheet, which I will show you in a little bit. And once you've worked through some of your questions, you can actually view the live form, so what it would look like to other people. So to actually work with my questions, I had to go back to my edit questions icon. And here I have the ability to create a new document, make a copy of this document, download it, or as well as redo, undo. Those are my different views. Insert. Now here it gives you the types of questions you can insert. However, you can also do it on this page right here, which I'm going to show you. So here's my first question. I have to give my question a title. Typically the title is what you're asking. So I could say, what is your name? Help text would be just a little blurb right underneath. You know, you could say first and last name, please, so they remember to give you both. And here is where you choose the type of question. Obviously, asking for your name, it isn't a multiple choice question. So I have a choice from a small text box, a paragraph text, so if they're giving a larger explanation, multiple choice, check boxes, choosing from a list of possible options. You did that when I asked specific days you wanted to choose from. A scale would be, 1 to 5, 1 being, the lowest, 5 being the highest, and you can identify what each end of the scale is like. A grid, providing the time or providing the date. So obviously this is a text because you're only providing your first and your last name. And one great thing is that clicking this box makes it a required question. So before the individual who's taking your form finishes the form and submits it, this question must be answered for them to submit it. So important, imperative questions that you want to make sure the students touch upon. For your sake as counselors, this would be a great icon and checkbox to click off. Once you've completed your question, you can click done. And then say I needed to add another question, I would add an item, and I can quickly, immediately pick the type of question that I would like. So I'm going to show you an example of a multiple choice. So getting to know your students, this is a great way to figure out, what interests the students have. So when you meet with them, you can kind of gear them in the right direction. So you could say, what is your favorite subject? And multiple choice. Actually for this one, I think maybe choosing from a list would be because they can click more than one option. But if you wanted to keep it multiple choice as well, you could say math, then ELA, social studies, science, music. So you have so many to choose from. Trying to think of what other specific subjects that we focus on, but those can be the main ones. And then from here I'm done, so I can click done. And I just want to check out my live form, which is going to be another tab that's going to come up. So as of right now, as you can see here, the questions that have an asterisk next to them means they were required for me to complete before I submit my form. I only have 2 questions, but I could exit out of this tab and continue on adding another item. Right here at the confirmation page, you can choose to show link to submit another response. Allow responders to edit responses after the submission, or if you just want their submission to be once and that's it, then you're good to go. So now, say you have set up your survey, have all your questions that you want to ask, and I'll just show you quickly what the one that I created for you looks like. So here you answered questions such as, what is your name? What's your position? Are you interested in participating? This was a multiple choice question. What afternoons are you available? This was check boxes because you could check off more than one, and my little help text was, we were focusing on a specific week to meet together. Are you familiar? Which apps are you comfortable? Again, that was a checkbox because there were multiple apps that you could be comfortable with working with from Google. And this was a paragraph text because any other information that you wanted to provide, I wanted to make sure you had enough space. So I'm going to go back to my example all about me and say you've completed it and now you wish to extend the opportunity for your students to answer these questions that you've created for them. You're going to go over to send form, similar to our share button. And here is the link that you would copy and send to students for them to be able to take your survey. If you wanted to shorten the URL, you could also do that too. You could press Command and copy, or you could right click and click copy, and you could put this right onto your website. So immediately you could say, please visit my website and please click on the link that says, and you could put a text to your link that says, all about me questionnaire. Now, the great thing, like I said, about this is that once a student has submitted a response to your form, you can view all of their responses all at once. So I'm just going to show you a quick example. For our professional development, I had, with a timestamp, the people who filled out my form and what their answers were. So the timestamp means at what time and at what date did the person submit their form. But then, as you can see, all of the columns following are actually the questions that I created, and underneath are your answers that you provided to me. So if you wanted to see all about me, all you would have to do is you could click View Responses, and your Google Sheets tab would pop open. And obviously nobody has answered my form because I haven't sent it out to anybody, but here you already see the 2 questions that I've created. Now every time you were to create more, this document would just continually update. And what's very wonderful about this as well is that it automatically creates the sheets in your drive. So here, this is my form, but it shows you right here that it already created a sheets that has the responses right in the same folder or in your drive. For me, this is in my Google Educator Trainer Program folder. And because I created my form in this folder, my responses are also found there as well. I think this is great for getting to know you. I also think for above and beyond, looking further into high school level counseling, that this is a great way to gather information about college application processes, specifically for the college mentoring program. You can get a really good feel of how to guide students in a certain way. This could also be one of the ways that you gather information about your mentees and your mentors to link them together. A great way to have a virtual collection of information. So that's forms. And in addition to Sheets being a way that you can gather information from your forms, Sheets, I also think, allow you to collect information in a very organized format. As you can see, Sheets has characteristics to Excel. So any type of chart, any type of way that you want to organize and store information, Google Sheets would be a great way to do that. You can also, specifically looking ahead as well for college application processes, I know that there are a lot of people who create a spreadsheet to make sure that they have all of the necessary pieces for an application process. And this could also apply to summer jobs. You know, even in the middle school, I know in our college mentoring program, we try to encourage them to get out there, community service, to have positions, and they require them to have teacher recommendations and to have to send in their report card. And Google Sheets can be a great way to organize that information and kind of keep them on track of, you know, what they have left to send in and, you know, what they've already accomplished so far. And I just want to show you a quick example. I have a friend of mine who recently applied to nursing school, and she had here, as you can see, the schools that she was looking at, the deadlines, you know, the start date of when the program would start, their locations and their requirements, and just certain information that helped her in terms of organizing, you know, when she needed to hand in certain assignments, you know, what was required of each specific one, because all programs are very different from one another. So at this point, I would have given you some time to practice, but you can practice, you can share ideas with me, email me, let me know. And I'm also going to send you this slide because I really think for the questionnaire process, having some examples of types of questions would be really helpful to you. And I found a few resources that give you some questions. What are your academic interests? What courses have you enjoyed the most? These specifically are geared towards college application and college searching time, but any type of about me are really helpful in terms of making a survey. And I'm going to close this up for now, but my last and final video is going to just focus a little bit on digital citizenship. Specifically for the middle school, I tried to think of training that would help you specifically with middle schoolers, and while I'm speaking a lot about the college application process, there are a lot of things that you can be involved with and help inform the students so that when that time comes, they have the best chance that they have to show who they are and what they're all about. And I think social media presently, they're not really aware of the impact that it may have. So that's going to be my third and final video.